Welcome back to Kicking It Real. We have a very special guest. It is one of my favorite people, Ryan Moroney. Welcome to Kicking It Real.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. I'm so
Um,
honored to be here.
I'm so excited. I know it was so funny. I've been wanting him to come on ever since 2 weeks ago when I started having guests. But I was like, I want to catch up. Let's just do this right now. So
Let's just kiki.
he has all of the things to share with us about his life and how we met. We met back in the good New York City days, like
We
all the
sure
time.
did.
Like
You know it.
I was looking at our notes and you have a crazy story about how we met, but now that I read it, I do remember it. Can you enlighten us on our first encounter?
Yes, of course. Okay, well, first of all, I have to start with saying that my mother says hi and she misses you.
I miss her. I know I'm not seeing like I see her every Christmas and now I don't get to see her.
Every Christmas. So I told her I was doing this podcast today, and she was like, "You have to tell her I say hello." I was like, "Of course."
Shout out Carrie, miss
Um,
you.
love her so much. But yeah, how we met, I feel like we met through Pure Barre, honestly. I honestly have the worst memory in the whole world, so I can't remember our initial interaction, but I can remember our most memorable interaction. Somehow we were out and about doing something, and we ended up at what was formerly the Q, a gay bar in Hell's Kitchen. And we were watching a drag show from the bar, you, me, and Garrett. I do remember, Ally Garrett.
Uh,
And
I like it. Yes.
we, I don't even know, like the drag queen was performing, slaying. All of a sudden, you were like, Brian, you're incredible. Do you know your worth? I have to tell you your worth. It was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. I'm really
Like
getting the ego boost
we
here.
need to do this more often. Like that actually, a lot of times people will tell me a memory and I'm like, "Oh yeah, for sure." But no, that comes back like full circle for sure. That was the
Absolutely.
time. That had to be pretty early on in my
I think it was, yeah. It
well,
was
did
right after, well, our timelines were pretty similar when it came to Pure Barre. You became a lead teacher, and then I feel like about 6 months later, I became a lead teacher. And
and I
this was
think
right around then.
did you moved to New York right around when I became a lead teacher, I think.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we're gonna get
somewhere
into
around
that.
there.
We'll
We're
get
gonna
into
get into
that
it.
eventually too. But anyways, that was I just like died at that story. Did we go out together? Did I just like run into you?
No, you and Garrett had me over, and I feel like a few other people, because I remember that was when I like saw your apartment there. I was like, oh my gosh, this is
Wait,
so beautiful. And
this is a
that's
year
kind of
in
close to
then.
the cute. Yeah, I don't know how or why I was there, but I'm happy I was for sure.
Honestly, yeah, it was meant to be for sure. But
Of course.
we can get more into that as well. But let's like go back. It's about you. You are the star.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
let take us back, like brief or not brief overview of your professional life. I mean, if you want to go back to birth, that's fine as well, but maybe not.
Birth. I was born in Texas, adopted. Crazy. That's always my
Wait,
fun
I
fact.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm adopted. I sure was. Right from when I was born, mom and dad scooped me up
Was
and
this
they
like
took me right to New Jersey.
oh, thumbs up. Was that the video is thumbs up, everyone. We're not gonna unfortunately have video. Next time you're on, we will. Uh, did they knew this before, or they were just like waiting at the hospital for any baby?
My Can you imagine that's how you adopt a child? I'm just gonna show up at Mount Sinai and be like,
I'm ready.
anyone free? Can I have one? Do
You're
you
like
want
waiting
that
for
one?
communion. Like, when's mine?
No, it's actually so cute. So, my adoption agency, the way they do it is they circulate. Okay, they if you want to adopt a child, you make a scrapbook about your life and the life that you would give a child, and you make it about your family and your house and your neighborhood and your schools and all of that stuff. And it's literally like a picture book, a scrapbook that my parents still have. And you give it to this adoption agency, and they circle it. They circulate it amongst mothers while they're pregnant who know that they want to give their child up for adoption. And then the mom gets to pick the home. So my
That
birth
is
mom picked my family. And so it was pre-planned. So
the
yeah.
was not spur of the moment. That makes me want to cry a little bit, but okay. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm learning so much already. Continue. I love that, Carrie.
Yeah.
We love you.
She's the best mom out there for sure. Yeah, I grew up in New Jersey though my whole life, same
Yeah.
house, never moved anywhere. Um, went to school at Wagner in Staten Island for theater. And yeah, lots lots of different things. I feel like before college, I worked at Paper Mill Playhouse in New Jersey for a little while. I was a student there in their little summer conservatories. I did their Broadway show choir, all the fun
We're
stuff.
laughing, that's awesome, I don't
I know. I was just, I remember our like dress code was like jewel tones, and I'm like, no, I'll always wear a jewel tone. Thank
Wait,
you
but
for instilling that in me.
that's kind of iconic. I've never heard of a jewel tone dress c
Oh my
like,
gosh.
any clothes, just, like, in the color scheme.
Yeah, I was teal. There was like a rainbow,
Oh.
you
Oh, so
know.
you had a specific jewel tone.
I had one. I was not assigned teal. I just chose teal. I bestowed it upon myself
You
as
assigned it
like
to
the
yourself.
color. The yeah,
Good.
yeah. And then after, I actually started working at Paper Mill in their education department. So I was an intern for them for a little while, and I worked with kiddos, which I think is where my love for working with children really kind of came to be. It was just so inspiring, and I got to kind of do the back end side of theater and child wrangle, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, then from there, I went to school in Wagner, at Wagner in Staten Island, like we chatted about before, studying theater. Um, Honestly, I'm just so happy to have supportive parents that were like, go live your dreams. Everything else will work out. And I was like, that's so true. Okay. So I went to school for theater, and I didn't really have like a big picture plan though. I feel like everyone else I went to school with was like, I'm here to be on Broadway and I'm here to be on a national tour. I was like, I'm here because I love theater
Like,
and I don't love chemistry or science or math.
no, that part where I'm like, thank you, mom and dad, for allowing me to go to school for dance, but I also look back and I'm like, did I even know another job option other than, like, dance teacher or chemistry teacher? Like, I kind of feel the same where I was like, "Yeah, I'm good at this, and I don't know what else I wanna do, so let's just do it,
Let's just do it, right?
and we just
Yeah,
take the
it was.
leap."
We'll just take the leap. So that's what I did. I auditioned for a whole bunch of places, and I was kind of between Pace and Wagner, honestly, when it came down to it. And I chose Wagner mostly, honestly, because it was a campus outside of the city. And at that point in my life, I don't think I was ready to live in the city yet,
Fair.
but I wanted to be city adjacent. And I'm super happy I did. But yeah, when I was in my program, love everyone that I went to school with. I just feel like I did not see myself long term going to open calls and auditions and being cutthroat and being able to like sustain waking up at like 3, 4 in the morning to go put my name on a list. Like that was never in the picture I had for myself. I just knew that I like performing and I wanted to like
Fair.
inspire people and make people happy, you know? Um, which kind of leads me to I have a deep love for Disney. I am a Disney adult. I will
He's
admit it.
wearing
I am the
just so
first.
we know, he is wearing a Mickey Mouse sweatshirt as we are speaking, so very
I
cute.
I love Disney so much. Yes, and so honestly, while everyone else is like, I want to be on Broadway, I want to be on a national tour, I was like, I want to be a Disney prince.
You
Oh
are Disney Prince, real
my gosh,
life.
thank you. No way, stop. Yeah, so I did the Disney College program. That's kind of how I got into that. I
Wait, can we talk
auditioned,
about
I
that?
worked.
Because I don't know
Yeah,
anything about that. Like, how do you apply? Like, do you leave school and
yeah.
go, or is it summer?
So you can do it as like almost a study abroad, but I chose to do it after I graduated.
Okay.
So I did it in the fall after I graduated. It's basically a paid internship that you can go to, and you can have a whole bunch of different roles from like working in attractions or working with merchandise or anything, honestly. Lifeguards.
Wow.
I and then if you want to work in entertainment, you have to audition. So I auditioned
Okay.
and I got the job in entertainment.
What was that
Um,
audition process like? Was it quick? Did you have to go
yeah,
somewhere?
it was pretty quick. It was in New York though, so
Okay.
it was pretty easy peasy. Um, I went, they kind of have you do like an across the floor moment. They had you do animation, which is like storytelling without words. Um,
The two
all of
finger
that.
point.
They don't teach you that yet. But
I think
yes, the
they
two
need
finger
to.
point. That comes later. That comes later. But yeah, I got the job pretty quick. And I I did a few things there. So I mostly worked in Epcot. That was my like home park. So on my lunch breaks, I would go out
Whoa.
to Food and Wine, get some snacks at different countries around the world, and then head back to work. I will tell you, I have never had more friends than when I worked in Disney. I
Oh.
thought I was going to be the only one in Florida for a few months, but I had so many people come and visit me, and it was great. I
Oh.
had perks, like I could get them in, you know?
I love I know you're not working there anymore, but I do have two. Garrett and I have two Disney tickets that we were going with a friend, and then my grandpa passed away, so we had to like push it back, and so we have these two tickets that we just keep pushing out because you can't get a refund.
No,
So we should probably plan a trip. Is my point before I
they
forget.
absolutely, you
Think
and me
about
though, not you and Garrett, of course.
Actually, honestly, yeah. I haven't been to Disney as an adult. Like, I've only been one time and I was in high school, and, like, I need to go drink around the world at Epcot. That
Absolutely,
feels
we
right.
must. It
Actually, yeah,
does.
Garrett, sorry, you're booted. Okay. Anyways, I
Sorry,
digress.
Garrett.
Please continue.
Yeah, so I really I did have the time of my life there. I will say I unfortunately don't think I was living in the moment when I was there. I like had this dream job, but I was going through my first breakup, to be honest, and I was just not present. And that was so silly goofy of me, you
S
know?
Not no pun intended about goofy,
No
but
pun intended, of
how so
course.
wait, so you were out of college, so what were you, like, 22-ish? 23?
Yeah, is that how time works?
I
Yeah,
think,
somewhere around then.
right? Somewhere
I
yeah,
think
I
so.
just, like I'm trying to put myself back in that time frame because I feel like being present in those moments is something I'm like working on as a late 20-year-old. I mean, I'm 28. I'm sure I've said that before. So like as a 28-year-old, I'm like, oh, I'm still working on that. And I just remember like that age where you're just like taking everything for granted and it's fine.
Right?
Especially I could see for you because you said you booked it like right away.
Right away.
So you're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
And so I had just graduated college. I was like, that's a huge transition that I feel like people don't talk about a lot. I feel like when you graduate college, they're like, okay, good luck, bon
Bye.
voyage. And then you're like, well, wait, what? I have to adult? And you
Now
have all these
what?
relationships, like that you just lived with them for 4 years, and then all of a sudden you're like out in the world. Like, it's crazy, you
It's
know?
so bizarre. So, because you were okay, so you were at Disney doing all this for just the summer, or how long did that last?
No, so actually, uh, well, I'll get into this a little bit more too, but over
Okay.
the summers in college, I also worked at a place called Showplace Ice Cream Parlor, which was in Long Beach Island, New Jersey. Love
Oh.
it. Um, Honestly, I grew up going there over the summers, and my family, my grandparents would take me to Showplace every year. It's
Oh.
basically a singing ice cream parlor, where all of the waiters and waitresses sing and do a little show. But then it's also kind of fun. They like make you sing. So, like Gabby, if
Oh.
you ordered an ice cream sundae that was named the Music Man Ice Cream Sundae, I would be like, hear ye," not hear ye, hear ye. I would ring a little cowbell and be like, "Oh my
Okay.
gosh, at my table over here." I had an order for a Music Man ice cream sundae. Like, can I have you stand up for me? And then you'd be like, I'm so embarrassed. And then I'd be like, okay, because you ordered that, I'm gonna need you to sing, dance, do a little jig, put this costume on. It's cute. It's
Costume.
super cute. We had props. We were ready.
Oh. Except I wouldn't be embarrassed. I would be eating that up, but like a normal human would probably be like, no, please stop. But also you have
They'd
to
be
know what
like,
you're
oh,
getting into if you're going to this.
absolutely.
So like
Yes.
that's your own fault if you're
Yeah.
embarrassed and you order the Music Man ice cream. Like, sorry.
No, straight up. Okay, sidebar. I actually recently took my boyfriend Jordan, who we'll talk about later. He came and visited down in Long Beach Island when my family was down there, and I was like, "We have to go to Showplace," which I could have sworn I told him what Showplace was, but we get there and they ring that cowbell, and his face went blank. He was like pale,
Oh,
sweating. He was like, "What? I'm stressed." I was
well,
like, "No,
for
no, no, it's gonna
reference,
be okay."
Jordan is
Yeah,
a financial man.
he
Like,
is.
like very.
Jordan works in finance, yes.
So
Jordan
like
and Garrett have that in common.
so
So
like that's
not
like an extra layer of panic. Like it just paints a better picture for us to know. Like,
yes.
yes.
Yes. Which we will talk about my man later. But
Sorry.
yes, so I was there over the summer, a few summers actually during college, and then from there I went to work in Disney.
Okay.
So yeah, 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 yeah. So after Disney, it was around January because I think one of my last days was in Disney World. The parks was right after New Year's in 2019. 2019. Um, and my college program ended. And I chose not to extend it or reapply simply because I was like, okay, this was great. I did it. I love it. I feel like the door is open. I can always come back. But I had this like drive to go to New York because I graduated school for theater and all my friends had moved to New York. And it was like, well, I feel like I should hit the ground running and I should be auditioning. All of the shoulds. Like, I should do this, I should do that at this age right after graduating, you know?
Mhm.
So I did. I moved to Washington Heights with two of my roommates that I actually lived with in college, Matt and Troy. Love
Shout
them.
out.
It was great. Um, but I was not happy. I was really grinding. I was really grinding hard. I didn't love where I lived. I loved the people I lived with, but I didn't love being so far away from everything. I lived on 181st Street.
81st. Washington Heights is big
181st.
because I think, like, even 145th is technically Washington Heights, or no? Or maybe that's
Yeah,
Hamilton
I think
Heights.
so. No, it could be. I don't
But,
really
like, that's
know.
I didn't know it was that high up. Oh, wow. Thank you for
Yeah,
clarifying.
it's high. It's high. And listen, my rent so cheap. I had in-unit washer dryer. I had everything. It was great.
My jaw's
But
on the
like
floor.
I know, it was winter though, so I didn't ever want to go anywhere. And if my friends wanted to do something, I was like, but it's cold and I have to take a train to you and it's so far
Yeah.
away. And I also was exhausted. So I was a nanny. I applied to be a nanny on care.com on my way home from Disney. And I actually lucked out. I got an assistant nanny position with Crazy, the Durst family, who is big in real estate in New York. Uh, but they have an estranged serial killer, Robert Durst, in the family. I don't know how much of that I'm allowed to talk about. I never met
Oh
him, but the family that I worked for was the best. They were so sweet. They were so kind. They really like instilled good values in their children. It was just a
man.
level of wealth and luxury that I was not accustomed to,
But
let me
that's
just say.
like I've never gotten into that, but even like Garrett has known people who have gotten into like nannying for wealthy families in New York, and like that's like low key the move. If especially like as an
Yeah.
artist, if you're listening to this and you're an artist or whoever and you want to like move to New York, don't sleep on that because it's usually right. It's like, I mean, I'm sure
Yep.
everything's different and there's different options, but it's like during the day. So then you can go take your workout classes, your, fitness classes or your dance theater, whatever you're taking, like in the mornings, afternoons, and then like, and they pay
Yeah.
usually like really well.
Yeah. It paid really well. Again, I lucked out. I was an assistant to the nanny. So there already was a nanny. I was just her assistant. And honestly, when there was a temper tantrum or when there was anything, she would be like, "Don't worry, I got it." And
So
I was like,
wait,
"I'm
yeah, what
so."
did you do as the assistant?
I would pick up the kids from school, but they had a car with a driver, so I really just like walked the
Up to the
children
school.
to the car, and
Awesome.
we got in the car. I gave them a snack. We went back, or we went to their extracurriculars.
Yeah.
We played a little. They would eat dinner. I would wash the dishes, and then I would go home. It was pretty chill. It was
That's
amazing.
so chill. Yeah,
And
love
it was
that for
the
you.
family truly was so so nice. It was awesome. Um,
So we had
and
a
it was
good job,
perfect.
but bad
Yeah,
location to live. Okay.
bad location to live. And at that time, I got a job at Pure Barre, but before the big merge to it being like part of New
Mm,
York. So the only one that would hire me was in Fidei and Tribeca.
the only one that
And
would
the
hire
only
you.
shift, yeah, no, crazy. Well, I was working the desk. I wasn't a teacher at the time. So I, yeah, the 5:30 a.m. desk shift was what was open at
Oh my
Fidei and
gosh.
Tribeca.
And you're in Washington Heights.
And I
So
am on 181st Street, so I had to
so
take the local one train every stop. I would have to wake up for work at 3:30 in the morning.
if you're not familiar with New York City, like 185th to it goes to like what is it's not even like it's 185th to 0 because it goes like lower than that. Like once you're in
It goes,
Eye, it's
there's like
like
negatives with names,
yeah,
yeah.
because it's just names at this point. So it is
Mm. And
over
the
200
express
streets.
train was not running. Like, it was, I
Yeah,
was
that
just
takes you at least an
tired.
hour to get there.
At least. And I had
At
to leave
least.
early if I wanted to get there half an hour early as opposed to late. Like it was just, I was exhausted and I would do that and then I would pick up the kids and then I would have like my hour trek home. And by that point I
Did
was like, I'm
you
exhausted, you know?
no. course. I mean, and that's, like, also unfortunately, like, the reality, I think, of, like, being an artist moving to New York, if and, like, not to, like, dog on it, but that's just, like, something to be prepared for because, like, that's usually what it is if you're not, like, going in with a nice cushy job and you're, like, trying to grind and, like, hustle and perform, like, that's not, like, trying to not validate you, like,
No.
it's,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's the reality that, like, people for sure don't talk about it. When you, like, applied okay, so when you applied to Pure Barre, had you taken class? Like, were you intending to be a teacher or, like, what was, like, the interest there?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I kind of skipped that. So I started taking
It's
Pure
fine,
Barre
whatever.
when one opened in my hometown over the
Mm.
summers in college. And I did do it when I worked in Disney. I did the Disney College program. So when I was there, I did Pure Barre in Orlando, where I met the studio owner whose name was Moana. Crazy
Oh,
coincidence.
bad statement, okay.
And I met my bestie Pure Barre girly Karen. Shout out Karen. Um, and I would take Pure Barre classes while I was there, and then I would work at Disney, and then basically everywhere in New Jersey, my hometown studio, and Orlando was like, "Hey, if you stay here, like we would love to send you to teacher training." But I was like, "But I'm young. I don't want to be tied down. I don't
You
want to
said, "But
stay
I'm
anywhere."
taking advantage of this. I deserve all of this. I'm
Yeah, I
not
was like, I
pissing.
want to
I don't care."
go. So I didn't commit
Just
to
kidding,
teaching then. So part of my goal was when I moved to New York, get the job at Pure Barre, regardless of how, at the desk or however, so that I could keep taking classes for free
for
and
sure.
so that I could eventually, hopefully, get the teacher job. And it just so happened that my first day at the desk, they were like, "There's teacher auditions coming up. You should go." I was like, "Okay." So I did. And I got the job pretty quickly. So while I was in New York round one, I was nannying and working the desk and becoming a teacher and living in Washington Heights. Like I was just tired and I didn't really have a social life and I didn't really I committed to a lot of small gigs quickly. Um,
Yeah, you're a yes
yeah,
person.
the theme of this, I think, is going to be the theme of burnout and how easy I think it is and how you got
That
to
can be the
protect
title,
yourself from the
burnout.
burnout. Perfect.
Burnout.
Yeah, I went, I got certified. I was one of the first boy teachers for Pure Barre. Crazy, because I remember at my training, they sent me to Denver and they were talking about a lot of things that I was like, hey, but specifically like I'm a boy. I want help knowing how to hands-on correct people, or I want more
Yeah.
help with that, you know? So, and I remember like me and my trainer kind of like going through that together.
I mean, it's
Um,
so cool, like, to see, like, think I mean, that's not something obviously I have to think about, but, like, you have such a special way of, like, actually interacting with clients and, like, still giving them I mean, it's different obviously from me because like, I don't care and, like, we're friends, but I can even when I take your classes and I, like, can see you in the mirror and you're just, like, so intentional with, like, how you're correcting people
oh,
and, like but I
thanks.
also think you just, like, create that environment that people like, it's not like, "Ew, this man's touching me." It's, like,
Yeah,
fine.
I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like in training, I thought it was going to be a much bigger issue or hurdle. And I
Yeah.
think it really was just about like confidence and being like, no, I know how to do this. And as long as like there's consent here, like it's okay,
And I
you know?
mean, that's honestly true for, like, men or women teaching. Like, it's always like, if you go in to touch someone, like, and you're nervous and, like, kind of touching them, it's like, "Ew, you're uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable, this is now weird," because you are
Yeah,
like, you're tucking someone's hips under, you're, like, scooping their core in, it's like so I think, yeah,
yeah.
it's like any person doing it, just, like, having intention behind have intention when you touch someone.
Yes, I feel like the listeners need to know that at Pure Barre, we do hands-on correction. So we touch people more than maybe other fitness modalities. I feel like we kind of just talked about it. We were like, when you touch someone,
Like, just take this out of context, yeah, touch people carefully. No, but
it-
it's like it's one of the
it's
cool things
part of the technique. It's what we do.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like a cool thing because a lot of times, in other fitness modalities, you're just walking around and they're just telling you what to do. And, to each their own, not to like again dog on anything else, but it's cool because you do get a lot of that like individualized attention, which makes Pure Barre special for
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
Which
Fun
so much.
fact,
Oh, go ahead.
when I finished my test out video in Tribeca, I was struggling so hard. The training process in general was really challenging for me. And I walked out after filming it, and one of the Jonas Brothers was walking down the street. And I was like, oh, it's a sign.
Wait, which one?
I wish I could tell you. I knew you were going to ask me. I should have done my
Oh.
research.
Did you
I
take a
don't
TOTO?
know.
Oh, that's
No, I
still really
did. I
cool
was
though.
so mind blown. I was like, oh my God,
They all kinda
this is
look the same
crazy.
from afar, I'm sure. From afar.
Yeah,
And you're, like,
right?
breath like, you're probably, like, major stress release, like, you're, like, out of body being
Yeah, I was like,
checked out
whoa, whoa, whoa.
process is scary, which will, like, for sure get
Crazy.
into that. Yeah.
But yeah, so I
So
had planned on staying in New York. Like when I became a teacher,
you were in 2019
this is 2019.
timeline.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
like January, February, March of 2019.
Okay.
Uh, I I didn't plan on leaving because I simply didn't have time to audition. Like that was not a priority when I moved to New York. I was trying to
Which
grind,
yeah, which is interesting because you already talked about how you knew you didn't wanna be auditioning.
but I
So
felt this like need. I was like, what
right.
am I doing here if
So,
I'm
like,
not auditioning, but I have no time or
you
energy?
didn't
How are people
audition,
doing
like,
this?
at all?
So I went to one.
Okay.
Crazy.
Awesome.
Okay, well, yeah, so after that, I wasn't planning on going back to show place and all of that that summer, just because I had done it for like 3 or 4 years, but they
Yeah.
needed a choreographer, and I was like, "You know what? I would love 2 weeks at the beach to quickly do choreography, live at
Yeah.
the beach for free, and then I'll come back." And while I was there doing that, they were like, "Hey, do you wanna be in the show next door? Do you wanna be in Flashdance?" I was like, "But" I like, "Do you want me to audition?" They were like, "No. Do you wanna be in it? We need a lead." I was like,
A lead.
"Okay."
We need
So
a
it
lead. Here you
we need a
go.
lead. So I was like, "Okay." So that kind of really fell into my lap in a way that I was like, "Dang, this is great." At that point, I was getting EMC points, which is for, like, actors' equity, which I don't think you really need that anymore, but it was an easy, quick 6-week contract where I got points, I got paid, I got to live at the beach, and again, the plan was to go back to New York after that and then continue teaching. Um, and while I was there, I got my first offer from Disney Cruise Line, which
Which we
was
know you love.
we know I love. That was the one audition I went to in New York was the Disney Cruise Line audition, and it was months earlier, and I didn't think anything came from it. Actually, my roommate in Washington Heights asked me to help when that audition came up, and the reason I went was because of him. And he was like, "Hey, I know you worked in the parks. Like, can you help me prep me for this audition?" I was like, "Sure. Like, this is how you should do it. This is what we're gonna do." And I was like, "Honestly, you know what? I'll go. I'm off that day." It was the one day I was off, so I went to the audition with him, and he booked the job very quickly, and I did not.
I
And
didn't
I
get it.
was like, okay.
You're
Like, I
like,
guess
"But
I'm not.
I actually got you that job because I prepped you, but that's fine.
It's
You're
like
actually there
it's
because of me."
I was like, that's crazy, but okay. Um, yeah, so it was months later, and I actually, at first, was offered to be, I have to use the Disney language, friends with Thor,
Okay. Friends with
the
Thor.
superhero, which I
Wait,
was like,
that
Thor?
that's iconic for you, which I love,
I was like the straightest man in the whole world. I
but,
was like, are
like,
you sure?
he's tall, he's handsome, he's Pure
He's
Barre
tall, he's handsome.
strong.
Exactly. If you're very
Wait,
strong,
pause for 1 second before we
sure.
continue. When okay, because I know I don't know cruise lines that well. So when you audition, did they, like, tell you that they might call you like, what did that look like? They or you just never they ghosted you and then were like, "Hey, we're back."
So I think cruise lines in general, but specifically Disney is growing so rapidly that like you can audition and then be in their database for X amount of time. So anyone that like is listening to this that is interested in performing, even if you don't think that you're a good fit for what they're calling you for, I always encourage people to show up anyway because their tracking for those ships is insane. They are looking for so many things and so many specific things that you never really know what they're
It's
looking for and for when.
definitely Disney because it's, like, such a wide range of, like, characters and shows and, like,
Yeah,
concepts,
and
yeah.
they just opened 2, 3 more ships, going on 4, like, they're really growing rapidly. So this contract actually she to bring this up, when she offered me that contract, she was like the casting director texted me crazy on a Saturday, and I woke up to a text being like, "Hey, are you free to chat on the phone and maybe do this contract? But if you don't answer within the hour, the tracking might change." And I was like, "The tracking might change? What do you mean?" So I was like, "Thankfully, I woke up crazy." Um, and she was like, "Hey, this isn't like official, but like we have interest in doing this. You auditioned for us a while ago." And I was so silly and I got off the phone and told so many people that I was going to be doing this job. And 2 days later, she's like, "I'm so sorry, like tracking changed. It doesn't fit for you anymore, but like I'm hoping to get you on something else." So I was like, "Ah, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed and so
Oh,
sad and
no. You
so
didn't
disappointed."
know.
I didn't know. I was
You
just
didn't
so
know.
excited. But a couple days, honestly, a couple days later, she was right. She was like, "Hey, I have another opportunity. It's not to be friends with Thor, but it is to be on a different ship." And so I took it. I took it quickly because I was like, you know what, at least a foot in the door. So yeah, on this contract, I took it. I very quickly like went back to New York, packed up my life, moved to Toronto, where they were already in the middle of rehearsals. Um, and it was a lot. I was hired as a dancer, which I in school studied a lot of dance just because it was my like weakest out of the three, singing, dancing, acting. So but I just don't think I was prepared for the level of like what they were asking me to do. I was basically a swing on that contract, to be honest, when you like really break it down. And I do not have a swing brain. And it was very hard for me to learn all of these shows and tracks and not be doing it consistently, not be
Oh,
performing
for sure.
consistently,
And if you're
which
not a performer and listening to this, swings just like know every single track and have to go in and usually don't get a lot of like practice time with the cast. It's like, okay, you know every part and you're going on for this part today and here you go. So you have, yeah, you
yeah,
have to like switch your brain all the time and yeah, crazy. Like, especially as your like first Disney, I mean, not even Disney, but just your first time swinging in general, like being your first contract with is so wild to me. But anyways,
it was truly insane. And so I honestly spent most of that contract like trying to keep up. And it was my first time living on a boat in the ocean.
did you get
Um,
seasick?
I did not actually.
Mm.
It's a large vessel, so you really don't feel it as much. There was one night I distinctly remember where the waves were going crazy, and my mom was on Cruise Tracker, True Cruise Mapper, some website that like tells you how high the waves are. And she was slacking. Oh my God, my Pure Bar lingo.
Get
She
out
was
of work.
texting me. Oh my God, she was texting me saying like it's gonna be okay, the waves are this, like you're so close to port, and I was like
You
conveying it to my cast because we all thought we were gonna die. It was just once though. It was okay.
I've
Waves were
never been on a
just
cruise because I get really car and seasick, so I'm sure I would be okay, but I'm scared. So thank you for reassuring me. I'll ask Carrie to track
absolutely.
me if
Yeah,
and when I go.
she'll be on there for
Okay.
you, of course. um yeah, and I just wasn't performing as much as I wanted, and so but I had super supportive friends. I like met my ship family. And I that contract, I met a lot of long distance friends. Some from Georgia, Texas. I just went to my friend Tori's wedding in Texas last year after this. Like you really do meet like lifelong friends when you are on a boat with them
Yeah.
for 7 months, you know? It really is.
Like,
It's
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 close
crazy.
quarters. Like,
It's close
you
quarters.
have
You
each
get
other, that's it.
close.
Because you didn't get
Yeah,
to
and
go home at
I
all in 7 months?
no, my
Ah,
family was fortunate enough to come visit me a couple times, but it's still hard, you know? I was away. It was during the holiday season, so I was cast in the Halloween show, which was fun.
fun.
Um, and but it was yeah, it was Halloween, it was Christmas, it was New Year's. I had family weddings that I couldn't go to. Like you
Gosh,
give
yeah.
up a lot, as you know,
I
for
mean
like I'm sure you missed a lot during your
I mean,
seasons of the
I
Rockettes.
yeah, which I don't know for me, like, a lot of people after college, like, dance-wise, they recommended or people did cruise ships because I don't think not that it was, like, easier, but there are so many cruise ships, so that need dancers, but it sounded cool, and I'm like, "Yeah, I wanna travel," but that was always what kind of held me back. I think I auditioned like, one audition came to my college, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll go," and I think it was, like, same thing, I probably was, like, in the database, but never heard from them. But, like, I don't know, at 22 or I mean, I was, like, 20 in college, but, like, I don't think I could have been physically away, and at least, like, during the Rockette season, it's 4 months and you're on land. Like like, they don't have to go on a boat to come see me, like, they can fly to New York and see me. So, that's I props to you for that because that is hard. I don't know.
Yeah, it was super hard, but at the same time, like it was just so magical for like lack of a better word. Like got to make these memories for people. Like on the ships, you make such close connections, not just with your cast, but also like with the crew and the
Mhm.
guests that come on. Because especially on my first contract, we were doing week-long cruises. So we were with the same people for a week, and the same kids would come and meet the same characters like
Yeah.
over and over, and like you started these relationships. And I do have one heartfelt little story. So I was friends with Goofy for the Christmas little thing that we were doing. It was called the Winter Wonderland.
Aw.
And basically, like the main stage cast would do like a dance routine. Nothing like the Rockettes, please. But it was still so cute and so special. And
Oh.
they had snowballs and would do all this stuff. And then all of the characters would come down the stairs in their little Christmas outfits. And then Santa comes out and Mrs. Claus, and it's like the first time that you're seeing Santa for the week. And then the last thing in that little moment is Elsa and Anna come out, and Elsa makes it snow like in the
Oh my
atrium on the ship.
goodness.
Oh, so special.
Makes me
And
feel really bad.
basically, you have 10 minutes while like the snow is falling that like the characters just play with the kids. And the goal is to like not stop for pictures because you have
Mm.
plenty of time to get pictures. Like it really is just about like spreading holiday cheer and building snowmen with the kids and anything like that, right? And Goofy took it a little too seriously, and there were cameras coming out, and Goofy was like, blocking his face, doing his
Ah,
like he was dodging the cameras in a way that was like to play with the kids, you know. But I,
yeah.
I don't think I don't think Goofy knew that that's what was going on, you know. I think he
Yeah.
was just like, I want to play. And
Cute.
later that week, I was greeting, so we would be like basically character attendants as well, so helping Mickey, maintaining the lines, doing all that. And there was a little boy on the back of the line that had little crutches, and he was so cute, and he had a goofy hat on. And I went up and I was talking to him, like I was like, "Oh, like, do you like Goofy?" And he was like, "Yeah, Goofy's my favorite." Going on and on. It was so sweet and so pure. And his dad pulled me aside and was like, "Yeah, like we've been trying to get a good picture with Goofy, but we tried to get a picture with him at this like winter show, but he wouldn't take a picture. Like, look
Oh,
at these pictures I got with Goofy." And it was so I was like, "Oh my gosh, that looks
you
so bad." Like
ruined it.
it looks like Goofy really was like dodging the camera. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so crazy." Like, so I was like, "Oh, I have to make this right. Like, let me like get more information." And he was like, he told me that his son, the one that I was talking to about crutches, has this like rare condition where one of his legs does not grow at the same speed as the other leg. And so basically every year while he's growing up, they have to go to Florida. I think they lived in Mexico for this like special surgery where they have to like elongate his leg, and it's a
Goodness.
painful process. And he was like, "Yeah, we try our best to like schedule these annual or biannual surgeries around a time that we can go to Disney so that he doesn't have memories of like only going to Florida to get the surgery. He has memories of like
God,
magical moments."
my
And then he said
goosebumps.
to me, he was like, "I don't know why he likes Goofy so much. Like, he's never going to be as tall as Goofy, and Goofy's the tallest one." Like, I was like, "Oh my God, my heart is oh my
Broken.
God, this is crazy." So I was like, I have to make this right. So I went back, met up with Goofy, and Goofy wrote him a note because
Oh.
you could do that on the ships. The characters can like write you notes. Goofy was like, "Hey, buddy, I've loved watching you grow up. I've seen you like in the parks, and it's just my favorite when I get to see you. And you remind me a lot of my son Max. And stand tall like me, pal." And he signed it
Oh,
Goofy, and he slipped it under his door. And later on, the dad came up to me, Ryan, and was like, "Did you do this?" I was like, "No, like Goofy did."
Goofy
And it was
knows.
just like such a special memory that even if like it was hard to be on the ships and away from family, and it was hard, but those were like the moments that like I feel like make it all so special, you
No,
know?
for sure, and I feel like those special moments there's, like, moments in my journey of having a hard time thinking about being a performer, and, like, sometimes it feels selfish to me, like,
Hmm.
you're like, "Oh, like, I just wanna be on stage and I wanna do these things," but then it's, like, remembering those moments of you're really making an impact in a lot of people. Like you're bringing joy to so many people, which is just as valuable as a lot of other, more quote
Yeah.
unquote important careers. So it's like cool to, and like making those Washington Heights days, like grinding it out, like worth it, which is like really cool. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I have goosebumps. That's so crazy. That
I
story
will say I went to see Gabby perform a couple times in the Rockettes. Every time I was like, oh, this
she was
is so
always there.
special. And there was one point I went, I remember being with mom and dad, and I'm pretty sure Jordan was there. And Jordan's first time seeing the Rockettes, crazy.
Crazy.
And we were pretty close, and there was a little girl sitting next to me. And when they do the like Santa number where there's like Santa's popping out all over the place, I remember looking over at this little girl, and she was standing up, being like, how is he doing that? Like, how is he everywhere? Like, I was
Oh,
like, oh my God, she truly believes. And I started sobbing. I was like, oh my gosh, Gabby is changing lives.
oh, sweet. Me, I am the one doing all the Santas.
You.
No, that's so no, it's like that. Why is it embarrassing to like cry in public for other people? Like it shouldn't be, but like, yes, that's so sweet. I know I love when you're
Yeah.
like, I would be performing in certain numbers when you're really like close to the audience and you can like see little kids. It's really special to like get to see
Yeah.
everyone. Oh, emo.
It
Okay,
was
we gotta
so special.
we gotta stop.
But
I'm gonna start
yes,
crying.
so
Oh my God, bye. Took a turn.
after that contract, it actually ended March 14th, 2020, literally the day the world was shutting down for the pandemic. And
Yeah.
I like got off safely, but I was on a boat in the middle of nowhere, so like I didn't know that there was a pandemic forming from like February or so on. Like I stepped off this boat into a pandemic, and my mom I tell this story all the time. When I literally debarked to go meet them at their hotel, she was like, "Hey Ryan, can you stop at Target and like just pick up some toilet paper and hand sanitizer on your way?" I was like, Sure. What a strange
To
request,
the
but okay."
hotel, yeah.
So I went to Target, and I was like, I pulled over an employee. I was like, "Where are you guys hiding the toilet paper and hand sanitizer?" Like, I have no idea. They were like, "Where are you? Are you from here? Like, do you know? Are you from this earth?" I was like, "Oh." So it was crazy.
Toilet paper. Oh my God.
Definitely, definitely a crazy shift from like traveling the world to like being in a little box.
Like, literally, you can't go
Um,
anywhere. So did you go back to Washington Heights, or did you go back t with your
no,
parents?
I went back to New Jersey, which honestly, the pandemic was horrible, but I
Truly.
found so much relief in a weird way of like, oh, I can slow down. Like no one's performing right now, so I can like explore other things. I can spend more time with my family. Like I never knew I was going to move back into my childhood home, and that was
Yeah.
just like such a blessing to have extra time with my parents. And I like grew my relationship with my best friend Catherine, who I'm her man of honor in her wedding in December, which is
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
I got all of my Pure Bar certifications, like for all of my other formats
Oh,
over the
I didn't even know
pandemic.
they
My
were doing
friends
that. That's cool.
virtually,
Yeah.
yeah. And my friends Suzanne, Catherine, and I were kind of like a little Pure Bar pod over the pandemic. So we would see each other and only see us. And she trained me in everything. And it's funny, like when she was training me, she would not let me submit a video unless it was like quote unquote perfect. And she's like, you are going places, and I want
Oh,
them to know. And she really pushed me, and I love her for that.
that's
Um,
those are the people you need to hang out to for sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I got all of the rest of my certifications there. Cruise line did reach out a few times with some offers, but I just like wasn't ready
During
to
the
go back.
pandemic? Are we in 2020 still? Oh, they said we're still sailing.
I feel like it was about like they were shut down for a while. I want to
Okay.
say like 2021-ish. They
Okay.
opened back
So
up with like
okay.
COVID restrictions, but it was just not going to be good for my mental health if I went back without like the freedom to get off and travel. And I was like confined to my little room. I was like, you know what, let me just wait it out. If it's meant to be to go back, it's meant to be. Like I did want to go back, but I had very specific goals in my head for if I went back, I would want X, Y, and Z. Just because the
Yeah.
first one I was mostly understudying, like mostly greeting, like I had a hard time. So
Well,
I
it
was like, if
sounds
I go
like
back,
no,
yeah,
yeah, it sounds like a lot. I mean, your whole professional, maybe not from birth, but your whole professional experience, college, like you were very good at like knowing when to say yes or no, which I feel like is hard for people. Like you just like knew if it was right or wrong for you. Like how do you feel
Ye-
like you knew that?
I'm happy that you got that impression. I do not do well with change, and I have a
Okay.
really hard time saying no. So anytime I made any of those decisions, like I'm not gonna lie, I was deliberating. I was like, oh my gosh, what if this is it? Like, is this right? Is this wrong? Like,
I
I
do
didn't
remember
know.
this now, actually, like fast forwarding, like specifically talking to you and like years later, and you're like, "What if this is it?" And I feel like I said something to you like, "No, like it's fine." Yeah,
Yeah, and I remember on one of your like recent episodes, you were like, when you close a door, like close it and other doors open. Like I have such a hard time doing that, to be so honest. But it's true. I fully agree. Like when you gotta dive right in to whatever you're doing, even if it's not what you think, you know?
yeah, go big or go home for
Um,
sure.
yeah, so pandemic was kind of softly coming to a close. New York City opened back up, and I did decide to move back to New York. But honestly, my goal when I moved back to New York was not to grow with performing. My goal was to grow with Pure Barre. And
I
I had
didn't think I
just
knew
known,
this.
I know, crazy. I just knew that like I was ready for growth and I was ready to like soak in all the information from all of these pro teachers like you and Nicole, Davey, and April, all
Mhm.
everyone. Like it was crazy.
Everyone.
And it's just such a mindset of growth here. And so I did. I moved back again with very specific goals. I will say I toured 52 apartments before selecting the one that
Are you
me and
serious?
my Oh, I was picky. I was like, I will not suffer again. I
Okay,
was
that's
like,
valid. You're like, I'm not do yeah, I guess when you have to live that far I'm like the opposite. I'm like, "Okay, I saw 3, like, I hated doing setting them up." It's such a hassle.
oh, it's such a
Did you
hassle.
have a
It
like
was,
an agent, a broker, or did you did it
I
yourself?
did. I had my broker, Wendy, who honestly, I love her so much. I call her, I think she was more of my like real estate therapist
Sure.
because when I wouldn't get apartments, she'd be like, "It's okay, Ryan, we got this." Like I recommend Wendy to anyone. So if anyone's out there looking for an apartment on the Upper East Side, I will send you Wendy's number. Love her so
Wendy.
much. But no, me and my roommate Anne, we actually ended up moving to the Upper East Side together. We got a little two bedroom. Um, it was huge. It was still pandemic pricing for sure, but like my
Yeah.
room in that apartment looked like a king size bed. It is a queen, but just because the room was so big,
Wow.
it was not it was still a 5 floor walk up though. You know,
I
all the
getcha.
things.
Yeah.
But I love the Upper East Side. Like location was prime.
You were at what,
Um
89th? Am I being creepy? Was it 89th?
it was 88th, so
Oh,
close.
close. Oh, like
88th
so close. And what? Because 88th Lex. Shout out Pure
between
Barre.
first and second. Yeah,
Oh, so
I
a little
know.
bit of a
So
walk. Not
yeah,
far.
at that point, uh, was I was working at Lulu on Fifth Ave, right near Radio
Lulu.
City, Rockefeller Center
Oh
during
my
Christmas. But
gosh.
I will say I don't think I had as much fun during the Christmas season as you did across the street, as I was working in flagship retail.
Your Lulu
But
days. We don't have to get too far into that, but you were there a while.
I was there a while. I did a lot of different things. I was their mirror lead for a while. But yeah, it was good. Loved it. It served me while I was there, but it was not the focus.
I
It
mean,
gave
retail
me
takes
health
a
insurance.
retail takes a certain type of person, but the health insurance is huge. Like,
The
you
health insurance, they paid for classes. Like it really was, it was a dream. And when I worked for the mirror, it was a super cushy job that I was good at. It's kind of got me into sales. But yeah, then I mostly was focused on Pure Barre again, like I said. So I was teaching 17 classes a week, which was
mhm.
crazy. At your max, how many were you teaching?
I was at the like legal part-time max at 22 at one point.
Yeah,
Disgusting.
it's
Disgusting.
crazy. Like
Let's talk
love
about that
it,
for a
but
second because
yeah,
at this point well, you were doing both. You were at Lulu as well, correct?
I was at Lulu and I was there, yeah.
I was so stubborn when I moved to New York. I mean, even before that, because I started teaching in Chicago, Pure Barre, and when it's like the same as teaching dance, teaching fitness. Obviously, you're making more than like a minimum wage hourly rate. So for me, it was always so hard to justify teaching or not teaching, I guess, working somewhere else on top of teaching because it's like the time versus money thing. But then you're getting paid more because you're exerting a lot more energy and it's harder than sitting behind a desk, you know? So it's just like ooh, it's just interesting to like think about that because it's like, what's the payoff? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, yeah, and honestly, like, and it's still part-time, so
Right.
you don't get benefits with it. So that's why I had to work retail as well, because that was my technically full-time job that gave me health insurance. But
So
like my
what is
passion job, Pure Barre, like
what's full
I
time considered there? Like, to get
At
health
Lulu?
insurance? Yeah. How many hours a week?
I want to say it was kind of low key, like between 25 and 30.
Yeah, but 25 and
Um,
30 hours a week and teaching 17 Pure Barre classes a week, like, that's not
17 hours extra. Yeah. So you're
that's and
you're
not
grinding again.
that's not 17 like, hours, that's you're prepping before that,
And you're prepping. Yeah,
and you're
you're doing
traveling,
it
like,
all. So,
yeah,
uh,
it's yeah.
long story short, I very quickly burnt out again.
Correct.
Burnout, burnout
Awesome.
number two. It happened quick. Um,
It's easy to do
and
in New York, watch out.
I know it is. I gotta be careful. But yeah, that's when I was offered Disney Cruise contract number two. And it's the
Wow.
one that I landed on, and it was truly my dream contract. Again, friends with lots of the taller characters, Goofy, Captain Hook, Woody, Flynn, all of
Flynn.
that. But most importantly, my main man, Captain America. It
Oh,
was truly a dream come true. And I was in all of the shows, cast in the shows on main stage. So I was in a little show called Twice Charmed, which is about like Cinderella before. It's kind of like it starts with Cinderella's wedding, and then the her stepmom, Lady Tremaine, and her stepsisters are like, "What the heck? Why is she happy and we're not? This isn't fair." And then they have an
God.
evil fairy godfather who comes in and is like, "Let's mess up our life, and if you can keep it that way, then you can be the princess." It was so fun. It was just such a fun show.
Wow, so many spinoffs, who would have
I
guessed?
know.
So you went back to Disney because
Mhm.
because it was your dream, because we're gonna call you out because you were done performing,
I
and then
know.
you said JK.
Crazy.
So what
I
was that
know.
decision
It
process
was
like?
it was truly because I mean, I had mentioned before that like I had been offered a lot of different contracts, but it wasn't what I wanted. Like it wasn't none of them had the shows that I wanted, none of them had the itinerary that I wanted, none of them I wasn't going to be a superhero or a prince or anything like that. Like
You knew
I
your
was
worth.
like if I'm going to go back, I want to know what I'm getting into. And I really was like I want to be in the shows and I don't want to I just want to make sure I'm not love understudies. Don't get me wrong, it's a great job, swings, but I did that and I
Not
knew
for
it wasn't for
everyone.
my brain. And I had a hard time with that. So I was like, I want to know that if I'm going, I'm doing it. And I
So if
was.
you didn't get, like, your this opportunity, you would have been okay not performing anymore. You think you were just like, "No, it's Pure Barre now."
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was a lead teacher in New York. Like it was hard to leave. Like it was not like an easy decision by any means, but it was one that I was like, okay, I said if I was offered X, Y, and Z, I would take it. And I was.
And I
So,
think that that's, like, an interesting point because I can obviously relate to that because for me, I was like, "I wanna be a Rockette."
mhm.
And I also quickly realized, like, "Ooh, this, like, audition grind for everything, like, is not for me," and that was always, like, my dream to live somewhere warm and then go back for this like, go back, do the Christmas season, and, like, have both of them. But I feel like maybe it's just, like, my social media feeds, but I feel like there's a lot of, like, pressure around at least dancers, I can't speak necessarily for actors, but just, like, being so all in, and, like, if you're not saying yes and you don't love it with every fiber and, like, sacrifice everything else in your life for the art, then, like, oh, like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
You know? Did you ever feel
It's
that?
a yes, absolutely. I still feel that sometimes, and I'm not even doing it anymore, you know?
You're
I
like, "Wait, I
still
can
feel
let
this
go."
like I was like, wait, should I? And I'm like, no, 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 it's okay. Like we're
It's
okay. Like we
okay.
did it, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
hard.
but yeah, went back and again, it was still hard. We had what's called dry dock, so they put the ship under construction while we were there, and it it was
Wild.
hard. It was hard, let me tell you. And we're working every day. Like it was a shorter contract, so I was only on the ship that time for 5 months, but you do work every day. And yeah, when you opened my Instagram when I was there, of course I'm posting that I'm having a little smoothie bowl in Cozumel, but I'm not gonna post that an hour later I'm back at work. Like, like you
Yeah.
don't see it like social media versus reality. Like that's like a huge thing that
It's like a joke as a
it
trend, but it's real.
no,
Like, it's
it's
real.
so
It's
true.
so
It's
real.
true. And I loved it. I got to go to all these places again. This time I feel like I met my like New York Disney family. A lot of my
Mm.
people in my cast live in New York, so I I get to play with them still, which is great. Um and again, like it was the tracking that I had asked for and that I loved. And it was a shorter contract and honestly at the end I was like I'm gonna miss this.
But
But
you knew?
I knew. I was like, I'm gonna miss this, but the stars lined up too perfectly for it to ever line up like that again.
Yeah.
And I, while it was hard, I still feel like that was like my dream came true. And I did everything that I wanted to, so far, at least. And I was like, you know what? I want to end on a high. I
I
don't
love
want
that.
to push myself to like go back again and risk things being different when they were just too great, you know?
I love that.
Um,
Especially, yeah, like, so many of those things are out of your control. Like,
yeah,
you're not in
so
control of
much.
what they
Like
need and, like, who's
who
best
your
fit for
cast
yeah.
is, or you don't have any control over that. And I, again, mentally really challenging, but and physically really challenging. But I just loved what I did, and I was like, you know what? That was a good place to close the book for now.
Mm,
And moved back to New York. Honestly, it's funny. So I was talking to my friend Megan a lot. She's my friend from the ship. While we were on the ship, I was like, okay, we're both so excited. She's my bestie. We were excited to move back to New York, but she was in a long-term relationship while she was on the ship. So she was kind of balancing long distance.
that
I
sounds
think
hard.
7 years at that point. Like
Ugh.
they've been dating for a while. And I was the complete opposite. I was like, I don't want to go back to New York and get back into the dating pool. I was like, I don't want to hustle and go on dates to find
And go
my
on
man.
dates, hustling
I was
and
like,
like, you gotta hustle to go on dates.
that's a
Too
full-time
much.
job.
Yes.
Absolutely. I was like, I can't. Like, this is crazy. Um, and she said to me, she's like, I think you're a different person now that like than you were
Mm,
before. So dating before might look different now because now you know who you are and you know your worth and you've grown and all of this stuff. And I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I get home within the week. I download Hinge and I met up with Jordan.
they
And
say they say it's when you're, like, not looking is when you find the person,
I
your
know. And I
person.
remember like on our first date being like, wait, this is going well? Like, you're handsome and you're being nice to me. And what's the catch here? I
I
was
do
like
no,
trying
I
to,
remember these early days and you were telling me about him and, like, that was the vibe, and I'm like, "Actually, maybe he's just cool." Like, maybe he's
maybe
actually
he's just
normal.
cool.
Like, also, I will be skeptical as well because, like, that seems very not reasonable, but wow, it was meant to be.
It was so easy, and it was at a relaxed timeline that I was not used to when it came to dating. It was like there's no rush or pressure to like put labels on things or anything. It was just so easy and effortless. And
Made you feel
honestly, I
safe.
kind of feel like, yeah,
Yeah,
so safe. And yeah, so when on top of that, I came back to the city. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try just teaching Pure Barre and not needing another job. And that did not work.
welcome.
I
Welcome to
still
the
needed
club.
health insurance. So
Gosh, that's
I went back to
crazy.
I went, I know, gosh, health insurance, crazy. Who would have
Yeah.
thunk? I wish I could talk about it, but I don't understand it, to be honest. I just
No,
asked my
no,
dad. I was like, what do I sign up for?
help me.
Um, help. But yeah, again quickly burnt out and I was like, okay, I gotta make a change, gotta shift something. Um, and a position as the GM of Union Square opened up, Pure Barre. And I took it, but I was scared. I was skeptical. I was like, okay, like this is great. It's salary, it's benefits, it's leadership, it's all of the things that I want, but I just want to make sure that like my goal of growing as a teacher with Pure Barre is not like set aside. So
For
I
sure.
negotiated staying on the lead teaching team while I GM'd, which was great. Um, I got super comfy in my little Union Square studio. I called it my tree house. You were the lead
It's
teacher of Union
I
Square,
know,
so
I'd
you
say I'm so
know.
sad we didn't overlap because that was
Isn't that
my home
crazy?
base. It's really that would have
Crazy.
been more than iconic, but that's okay. I mean, Kate was my GM and she was great too. So
Love Katie. Yeah,
I
no,
love her.
truly. Um, but yeah, I quickly uh roles in the company shifted again,
Wait,
and
wait,
my
wait.
best.
Also, we forgot because all the Pure Bars in New York City have merged at this point.
Oh yes, when I came back to New
Post
York, they had
merge.
all merged together. So crazy, but
So because there's
actually,
how many
honestly,
cities?
after the pandemic, they were
Right,
merged together.
right. We're
So
jumping. We're assuming everyone knows because all what is there 12? Might
12 in New York, but now there's 19 overall. Crazy.
because they're all the yeah they're opening so many. So if you want to
Westchester, Long
teach
Island.
in New York, what is nice is like you can. good and bad, right? Like you can teach a lot of classes because there's like a million studios, and when you're in the suburbs, if you only have like one, two studios, there's just not enough classes to teach. Versus like New
Yeah,
York,
they
you
they always need
can,
people.
yeah, like you literally, I'm always like, you'll be fine. Everyone needs coverage, but it's nice is you also can always find coverage. And it's so
Exactly.
many performers, so everyone's like, "Hey, I have an audition that came up," and people can like swoop in, and it's just like normal there, and everyone just takes care of everyone. I mean, it's like the most special. Oh my God, I actually can't think about it because that
Ugh,
was the worst to have to leave everyone. But
no,
just
we
yeah,
miss you every day.
I can't think about it. Okay, can't think about it. Makes me sad.
But yes, so I was teaching for a little while, and then again roles shifted in the company again. So my bestie Abby got promoted to be the director of operations for New York,
So
and
badass.
she was the general manager of Pure Barre 65th and Second Avenue, and then 67th and Third. So she was the first dual manager because they're right around the corner from each other. And when she got her promotion, they promoted me, so they moved me up from Union Square to manage two studios.
How are you
Um,
balancing all of that? That sounds insane.
it's a lot for sure. And to be so honest, I thought it was just going to be like, oh, I just do everything twice. Like I order the socks twice, I order the water twice. I did not realize that it's managing two teams and two full different client bases. It is a lot, but
Which is ironic
hey,
because they're literally around the corner from each other, but like
no,
the
truly
clientele
around
can
the
be,
corner.
yeah. But
Crazy.
67th has a different feel, like just that area even. Because it's like all like
It's
it's like the Vineyard
crazy. That's New
Vines and
York
like
though,
yeah.
right? Like that's like you can go one block and it feels one way, and then another block feels a fully different way. It's kind of really cool,
It
honestly.
is so cool, but it's you wouldn't think that for sure if you didn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but I feel like now I'm finally settled in to doing two studios. It took longer than I thought, but I'm settled.
You can do it
Um,
all. And you're
and then
still lead teacher.
yes, I would say I don't do as much with that as I used to, for sure, just
So
because
what
of
is
time, but whenever I can jump in to train someone, I do.
What is like a quick brief overview if someone like teaches Pure Barre or wanted to teach Pure Barre and like wanted to grow at in New York City, like what are like the main requirements for GM and lead teacher?
Sure. To to become a teacher, you mean?
Let's
Or
pretend
to
well, if
become
you
a
want
lead
to
teacher?
grow, lead
If you
teacher.
want to grow.
Like we're
Okay.
already we if you pretend everyone already knows how to be a teacher.
Sure. Okay, great. So if you already know how to be a teacher and you want to grow within the company specifically, um, you got to say yes. You got to say yes to subbing. You have to like build consistency with your schedule so that teaching becomes more muscle memory than anything. And then you can get more formats, trained in more formats so that you are a teacher that can be utilized more often and jump in and help more people. Like it really is about like saying yes, building your base of skills, your tool belt of like what you can teach, um, and taking class. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
you have to take class as a teacher so that you can learn things that other people do well. Like I used to love taking Gabby's class. My gosh, I would
No.
steal so many cues. It's just so smart.
It does. Well,
And
and
no,
it's cool when you
truly.
take class, you can like for me, how I come up with cues even taking class is like you feel things in your body and then you're like, "Oh, wait, that helps." And then you can like help other people do that. And like also, yes, steal from the teacher too, but like it's cool in that way taking
Honestly,
class.
I think the reason I am the teacher I am today is because of all of the virtual classes that I would take over the pandemic.
Mm,
Because it normally, when you teach Pure Bar, for the people that don't know, you cue something, you say it twice, you walk away, you help other people. That's more your focus. But over the pandemic, you couldn't touch people
no.
and you weren't in the same space. So I would be taking the full class on Zoom and teaching at the same time, which was crazy stamina. I don't know how I did that,
Yes,
but
I remember those
I I
days.
found like ways of saying things because I physically was feeling it as I was doing it. And I was like, oh, you should feel this part of your body. And you could
Mhm.
do this to feel this a little bit more deeply? Um,
So cool.
yeah. And then same with GMing, honestly. Just like say yes to shifts, say like work on sales, work on asking for the sale, work on picking up on extra little things that you could do around the studio that you don't have to be asked to do. Just show leadership in general, show ownership, show leadership.
Right.
Um, yeah, so that kind of leads me to where I am now.
Yeah, this is the most exciting.
This is
Go
the
ahead.
most exciting. I recently got a job as a master teacher trainer for Pure Barre Corporate,
Go
which
off.
Oh my
Full
gosh, it's
circle.
crazy. It really is. And that's what I, yeah, truly full circle. I told you, like, Suzanne, my friend from home, was like, no, you should be an MTT one day. Like, you should, if we do this, like, it was always on my docket. It was always on my dream list. But I honestly thought like it was out of the picture just because I was managing, I was doing so many other things that I was like, oh, I hope this still happens one day. And they sent the application, I applied, I got it. Also, Ella, in New York, Ella Sharp,
Uh,
shout out. She's my
love
lead teacher of
her.
65th, so she also is now a master teacher trainer, and it's just so cool. It's so cool to be on this side of it. And I actually, fun fact, just certified my first teacher this very
Go off.
morning
Shout out. We won't call
officially.
her out, her name, but like shout out if you know who you
No,
are, if she
you're
ever
a
listens to
star.
this.
No, it's been incredible and still a huge learning process. Like, I'm still learning how to give feedback in this way and how to encourage people to continue the process and how to grow. Um, it's also like expectations are high. They've been high because we're lead teachers and we teach in New York, but like now I am certifying people to teach, so I
I
better
mean,
not mess up.
yeah, you're controlling like the integrity of the brand. Like actually,
Yeah,
like like you because teachers are such a huge part of the brand that like that's no big deal. Big job on your hands, but you're like the best. So I mean, it's
thanks.
you have like all the things. It just makes sense and it all like lined up and saying yes to all those things probably prepared you in ways you still don't even know. Even being GM, like
Exactly.
you're exposed to so many different sides that I'm sure now play a bigger role as a master teacher trainer because
Yeah.
it's a little bit like yes, it's still teaching, but I'm sure there's responsibilities that maybe align a little more with like GM things that probably help you. So it's like cool to see it all come together.
Honestly, I think it's like leadership in general, all of them have similarities, and also like feedback is huge in performing and Pure Barre and everything. Like, you have to be open and receptive to feedback, and also delivering feedback is a skill in and of itself. And the different ways to give positive and negative feedback, and you have to be comfortable doing that in all of these jobs,
Yeah,
but in any field in general. But yeah, I think everything combined led me to where I am today. Crazy. So
it's
yeah,
so crazy.
that's kind of that's the new focus right now is
Pure Bar.
dual GM, Pure Bar, MTT, but also like in general, like building, continuing to build my relationship with Jordan and my friendships with people at Pure Bar and just like this community that I have here. And
Do you see yourself
yeah,
staying in New York?
I do. I do. I don't know. I don't know how long or until when or what it'll look like to leave, but right now nothing in my life is leaving. Like
It's a
it,
special
it,
place for sure.
it is. I know, and I don't even know where else I would want to go, I will say that while I live here, it is hard, it is draining, and I need my time away. And I think that something that all of these jobs give me right now is the ability to travel and the
Yeah.
ability to have like paid time off and the ability to kind of like arrange my schedule in a way that works for me as opposed to being forced to work the 5:30 a.m. desk shifts in FIDI coming from Washington Heights. Like, I
Right.
wanted jobs that like allowed me to be a little bit more in control of my work-life balance. And although they have
Yeah.
more responsibility, like, I am just happy that I can arrange my life to be what's supportive for me, you
No,
know?
for sure. And I feel like that's such a good takeaway from like me just listening to your whole journey start to finish of like just remembering that there's stages of your life and that's just like the reality of it. I mean, not even just for a performer, right? But like everyone starts somewhere. And if you would have said no and been like, I want to sleep and I'm not traveling to Fight Eye, like you wouldn't have had all of these things. So just like knowing that when you're in that season of like, maybe don't stay in a season of burnout, but when you're like teetering the line of burnout, like taking a step away and knowing when you need to go home and, like, say no to a contract or take a trip to see your mom, see Terry, but
Hmm.
knowing that, like, it's worth it, and then it also is cool because it allows you to know what you want. because you were able then to be like, I actually don't want that contract. Like, I don't want to
Hmm.
do this anymore. And then it's just like empowering because you're tired, but you're tired doing things that you love doing and that are
Yeah.
fulfilling, which is like, that's all we can ask for, you know?
No,
That's so
honestly,
cool.
it really is. It's nice to I call it my like stable era. Like focusing on like stability and in all things. Like again, like you said, like my parents are right here, so I don't need to miss family weddings right now. I can go. I can do them. I can see them. They can come and visit me. Like I went to Seattle last summer to go to Jordan's sister's wedding and I like met his family and it like I get to now like instead of no, I'm not focused on performing right now, but I get to have the stability of like going to see shows and also bringing him. He's not a theater person, so I get to see like this other side of like, oh, come see. Like his first time meeting my parents was at Wicked. I was like, let's go see Wicked. And
Also, let's go do something where you don't speak to my family. Let's all go sit next to each other and cry probably because it's so amazing.
we we got drinks, but yeah,
Okay,
we
fine.
yeah, it was just so cool. It was his first time, and it was like seeing it
A little
through
kid.
his eyes. Yeah, to see Wicked, like it was seeing it through his eyes. Like he was like, "Oh my," like audible during the show. He's like, "Oh my gosh, wait, is that the Scarecrow? Is that that's Stuart?" I was like, "Yeah, this is." It was so cute, you
Theater,
know, and
welcome.
theater and again
Oh,
he's not a Disney boy either, so it's like I get to share my memories and my stories that I have, and he didn't know me when I was a performer or it was in my performing era, you know, like
yeah,
I think we all are still performers regardless, but he didn't know that. Like I get to share it with him with like videos and like hopefully we're like planning trips and you know
yeah.
all of that. It's busy, but eventually we'll get there, and I think it's just special to like share different sides
And
of
it's
your life
also,
with your person.
yeah. And like, if you were to have met him, what, 2021, like,
I
I
was
feel like
not
we wouldn't be
ready.
here.
No, I was burnt out. I couldn't focus on anything. I was tired. I probably would have been asleep. I was like
You would have been sleeping or wicked.
asleep in a wicked or on the train to Fight Eye. Like,
Like, I think it's so cool. Like, I love hearing the stories too of like where you were and then like when you meet your person and knowing that it's coming at the right time. And you mentioned at the beginning too of like you just went through a breakup and it sucks. And like when it feels like the end of the world, but then you can step away and be like, oh wow, that would have been tragic if I ended up with that person. And if I met my person that's actually my person earlier, like that wouldn't have worked out. Like Garrett and I talk about it all the time. We joke because he was such a different person, like even in college. And I'm like, I would have not vibed with you in college. Like that would have been not it for me. But like some aspects, yes, but some I'm like, that wouldn't have been it, you know? So it's like cool to know
absolutely.
when things work out like how they're supposed to, which is wow. You have
Not to
like
say
worn
it'll
all the
be
hats.
easy, but I feel like you'll know because it should feel more effortless. It should not feel like a struggle, and it should not feel like you're like
Second guessing.
fighting. Yeah,
It's
second guessing. Like
the
you should
fighting.
feel it's the fight. Yeah. Not to say that we don't fight. Like every relationship you fight, you know,
But
but
it's not fighting with the person, it's fighting, like, for the person, where it feels like
or
you're, like, clinging, grasping on, where it's like
absolutely. And that even applies like what I was saying earlier, like my first Disney contract, I was like I felt like I was going to war. Like I was like it was so hard. Like almost
so
every
real.
part of it was so hard, and that's how I knew like okay, well when I'm offered other ones like now I know what to say yes and what to say no to. I think the same applies for dating. Like you know what you want and you know what your expectations are and you know how you deserve to be treated and you say yes when it's right, you know?
You say yes when it's right, and knowing that if you're in a tough season, like, it's gonna teach you something in the future when maybe stakes are higher or it's a more important time to, like, be
Absolutely.
in that. Oh my gosh, we've covered so many things.
We really have.
You've really worn, like, all of maybe not all of the hats, but a lot of hats and, like, the all of it. Like, do you feel I have a few more questions for you, and they'll be brief. Do you
Please.
feel like what not do you feel, what parts of your performing training, career experience, like, how did that translate into Pure Barre?
Okay, I talk about this all the time. I think that if you go to school for theater or you are a theater person in general, you are training to be a professional human being. And
Mm,
so, regardless of if you're using those skills on a stage or on a boat, or you're using them in a way of like, you can confidently enter an interview room because you know who you are. And you can confidently enter a leadership role because you know how to communicate with your teams and you know how to be likable and have people want to help you and reach the same goals. Um, Also, in general, performing, I always call like when I'm teaching, I put on that Britney mic because like that's my like 50 minutes of performance. Like,
no, you're like you have to perform because no one wants to go to a fitness class and like not be bored. And you
no.
have to learn how to like put your stuff aside because it doesn't matter what you're going through. Like I can think of
Hmm.
so many different Pure Bar experiences where like I crying before something tragic happened. Maybe tragic's extreme, but like something bad happens, but you're like, gotta go teach. Like that's not their problem. Gotta bring it. You're
You gotta
acting.
put on it. You are acting, absolutely. And I think theater people in general know how to hustle, and we
Mm,
know how to stay organized, and we know how to take care of our bodies
time
and
management probably too.
time
Yeah.
management. My calendars are color coded. I'm sure yours are too.
Of course. Of
I was
course.
like,
Oh my
we got every
god.
color of the rainbow. I think it's so important to plan in not just work, but you also plan in time to play.
Mhm.
And you gotta plan in time to rest. You have to in
Mm,
order to like
mhm.
recharge, you
No,
know?
like I have a color for like my personal like Frankie walk or like shower and read your book. Like,
Yeah,
like literally like you have to plan time because it's so easy to forget it and like let it go away. If someone
yeah.
is listening and they're in a place where they're a performer or something in that realm and they're also like feeling that guilt of like w- I don't know if I want to do this anymore, but I went to school for this or I've been going for this. Like what would you say to them if they're like toying with taking a leap into something else that maybe they're being drawn to?
Do it. And life is hopefully long. And I I don't. I just think like again. I still to this day, I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, like Disney's opening new ship. Should I go? And I'm like, wait, maybe if the time comes, like you'll know. But right now, like I want to focus on something else. Like I want to focus on being here and present in the moment and growing my relationship and growing with Pure Bar. Like it is okay to say yes to other things, and just because you're closing the door to open the door for other opportunities, you can then close those doors and open the other door. Like you can close and open as many doors as you want in
Yeah,
your
we're
hopefully
not
long life.
we're not saying you gotta lock the door and throw away the key. Like we're just closing it.
No,
We just click it shut.
you click it shut. You can't be standing in 12 doorways though, because then I'm going to be annoyed when I try to walk through and you're in my way, you know?
Yeah, and then you're overwhelmed. Like where do you go? Like that's overwhelming.
You got, yeah,
We
but you
need
got to
less
fully
decisions.
commit.
We need
You
less
fully,
decisions because that's too many options.
absolutely.
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, okay. Well, my parting questions, and not that I haven't asked you enough questions, but in the spirit of kicking it real, what is something you've been kicking it with lately?
Mm. I have been kicking it with like planning, again, like I said before, planning time to adventure, but also planning time to rest. And I used to be someone that would get so anxious if I felt like I wasn't doing enough. So now I'm kicking it with recharge time. I'm kicking it with I am gonna
Oh,
take a few hours to sit here on the couch and watch my shows and play my game and not do anything
turn off
related
your
to anything else in
notifications.
life. Turn them
Maybe.
off. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
loving
kicking it with rest.
kicking it, but not actually kicking too much energy. You gotta rest. Love,
No.
love it. What are we kicking to the curb?
Mm. I am kicking to the curb the old mentality of I have to be chasing these like high highs and low lows in life in order to be like feeling something or
Mm,
making something matter in life. You know, I feel like especially in performing, you don't realize how much you crave the instability of like, oh my gosh, like right now I get to be on stage and be this person and then I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I'm going through like hard times, you know. I am kicking the concept that stability is giving up.
Do we think that? Like, I feel like we're just getting old too. 'Cause I'm like, same. Like, is that just what maturing is like? I don't know. But like, maybe if you're not in your later 20s or older and are listening, like, you can apply that now.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
stability is a beautiful thing, but it's hard as performers. So I get that. Oh my
But
gosh.
again, you
Well,
can always find ways to do it, you know?
yes, it doesn't have, yeah, it doesn't have to be so dramatic. Oh my God. Where can people find you? Everyone's gonna want to keep up with you after
Oh my
this.
gosh, I'm not a TikTok boy. I am an Insta boy through and through. So you can find me at Ryan_Moroney. And
I'll
that's
put it in the
that.
notes. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy. Thank you for coming on. You're always such a little ray of sunshine
Ah, thank
and
you for having me. This has been
inspiring.
an honor.
You're going to change the world. I know it. But thank you guys for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. And we'll see you next time on Kicking It Real. Love ya.
Bye.